Guys, I am bringing my roleplay show to the Lyric Theatre in Belfast on Friday the 10th and Saturday the 11th of May 2024. Tickets are flying out for this already, so if you want to come and see my only performances in Belfast of the roleplay show, get on it quick. You can follow the Lyric website, or you can just go to the description of this podcast, whether it's audio or video, and just click the link and you can get your tickets right there. The Sly Guy podcast is on Patreon, so if you want to support the podcast, you want early access to this podcast, you want bonus content, you want extra podcasts, you want other guest podcasts, you want hours and hours of bonus content, you can go to www.patreon.com/Sly Guy podcast, or failing that, you can just go to the description of this video and follow it right there to the Patreon and subscribe. Bish bash bosh, get her bucked. Probably shouldn't have said that for YouTube, but who cares? Sly Guy podcast is always brought to you in association with Modest Beer. I've said it once and I've said it a million times. Modest Beer aren't the sort of company that are going to blow their own trumpet, hence their name, but I'm an egomaniacal guy and I'm happy to shout out the name of Modest Beer. Modest Beer are the most delicious beers going. If you don't want to take my word for it, you know, you're thinking, Dave, you're just saying that because they sponsor the podcast. No, I'm a man of principle and integrity. I won't just say stuff if I don't mean it, unless it's a joke, and in which case, you know, I don't mean it. But if I'm being serious, and I'm being serious, look at my serious face, I mean it. Get to modestbeer.co.uk and see what I'm on about. Get some beers ordered in, get them delivered to your house, see the selection of beer that they have, and if you think, you know what, Modest is a beautiful design, a beautiful beer, a beautiful product, and you want to buy some merchandise, it's there too. And you think that's all well and good. You're like, yeah, I might acquire this, I might purchase some Modest beer, I might buy some Modest merch. But I'm feeling the pennies pinching a wee bit. There's a cost of living crisis, things are a wee bit expensive. Don't worry, I've got a discount code, 15% off with the code SLYPA15 at checkout. That's SLYPA15 at checkout, www.modestbeer.co.uk. What are you waiting for? Do it now.
I'm the Sly Guy.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Sly Guy podcast. Wherever you're listening, whatever you're doing, you're very welcome. I hope you're feeling well, and I know some people say that at the start of episodes and it feels insincere. I genuinely mean it. I want everyone to feel good. I hope you have kept coming this week. I hope you guys are turning up, knocking at the door and getting it done and feeling good. And you know what? That's how I'm feeling right now today, because I am coming to you off the back of recording one of my favourite episodes of the podcast in a long time. Off the back of an episode with a guest who not only is a tremendous comedian, but he's a friend of mine too. We had a mate date. We spent the day together and thought, what better way to end a date than recording a podcast? I mean, can you think of a better way to finish a date? I can't. I mean, a mate date. Now, if it's a real date, you know, maybe, I was going to say, not for, probably third date. If you're on at least third date and onwards, things are going good, you know, there are better ways to end a date, because someone might be like, oh, good night, see you later, and they're like, actually, do you want to come inside my house for a coffee? And you're like, oh yeah, I love coffee, especially, you know, Spanish lattes or whatever. And they're like, no, I'm not actually, I don't have coffee. It's not coffee bean I'm offering you. It's a different kind of bean, you know, the bean, you know, the base bean. Blah, blah, blah. Get inside and get some of that. Now, if someone said that to me, that'd be very off-putting. However, if that's what you're, you know, that's what we're talking about, getting it done at the end of a good date, that's a good sign. Sign seen delivered. That's a better way to end the date than doing a podcast. But it'd be weird for me and Andrew to have ended our mate date by doing that. So instead we did a podcast, and you guys are you're reaping the benefits. And it was a really fun episode. It was silly. We talked about loads of... It was so stupid. We talked about what happens when you get burgled. We talked about how burglary has evolved over the years. We spoke about times in school. We reminisced about growing up. And then we, of course, talked about Andrew's fantasy of becoming a pilot. I mean, all things that you want to hear about this week, and all things that you can hear about on this week's Sly Guy podcast. So listen, without further ado, this is my episode of the Sly Guy podcast with my frequent collaborator, fantastic comedian, and fantastic friend, Andrew Ryan. Are you happy?
Hello.
Andrew?
Hello there.
Oh.
How are things?
Let me see. See, I just moved that just so as you could see your face, and you've just bloody moved it again. Come on. And there we are. Andrew Ryan, welcome to Sly Guy Podcast.
Dave Elliott.
How? I feel like it's weird for me to welcome you to because I've been hanging out with you all day.
Yes, we've had a date, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you want to explain what we did and what we arranged.
Well, I don't know. Well, like it was more. We're kind of doing the podcast as just a wee cherry on top of a beautiful day, isn't it?
Yeah, we arranged to just hang out rather than do comedy.
So this is going to be a very serious podcast. There's going to be no fun.
Yeah. So what we did was we met up at 11 o'clock. I was 15 minutes late, and we went to the gym, and we worked out in the gym, and then we went to the sauna, then we went to the jacuzzi, then we went for lunch.
We showered after that, though.
We showered, yeah, we're fresh. We went for lunch. I have no hair gel in, as you can see.
Neither did I.
And I can't believe I asked you for hair gel by accident in the gym. I said, have you had a hair gel? Oh shit, sorry, I shouldn't have asked you for that. Yeah. I wasn't a dig at you, by the way.
Mm-hmm. So disrespectful.
Because I'm not far off behind you anyway.
But you know what? Sometimes I have product for my beard.
You can use that on your head then.
Use that on your head. It's all hair, but this is more like pubes than hair, you know.
But we had a really good time, and then we went for lunch, and it was nice and chilled. Mm-hmm. So there you are. Are you doing a gig tonight?
No, I'm not. I'm just continuing my day of fun. I'm just going to see my mate this evening. I'm going around his house. We're just going to hang out. Now, does my mate potentially have a dartboard in his house?
Is this Aaron?
No.
Right.
Because he doesn't. His father does. Which would be weird for me to just turn up to Aaron's dad's house again and try to force my way into his private room.
Like, can I just come in and sit in your sitting room and then call Aaron over and no mention why you're in the house?
Yeah.
Just, all right, mate. What are you doing here? Just chilling.
How fun would that be to set up an intervention without an intervention, just for the crack, just to see someone's face when they walk into the room?
What do you mean?
Like, so say we all went round to Aaron's and mum and dad's and sat the two of them down in the room. You and me are sitting in the room. We get maybe one or two others. Maybe one of his other friends, like Brian or somebody, sit there and be like, it's time for the intervention. And his first thought would be, about fucking what? Like what?
Yeah.
And just make something up.
Just make something complete. Aaron, it's your gambling.
Yeah.
I don't gamble. But that's what gamblers say.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't gamble. You're in denial. We know what's going on, and then put them in a priory for like a month.
Yeah.
For absolutely no reason. Like.
No idea. That'd be good fun. Like, that should be a game show. Section your mate. It could be a bit like Noel's house party.
Yeah.
But you just go around and you fabricate it.
I'm very surprised that you guys haven't done hidden camera yet in the North Scene, because like. I genuinely thought one day we were out. I thought the lads I was being done hidden camera wise.
What was this?
Because we were out somewhere and we were getting really bad service, and I thought this is set up for me. I was like, what's going on there now? And they were all really calm about it. And I went, how can you be calm about this? They'd forgotten an order or something, or something had happened, and I just went, I thought they must have set this up to get my reaction to this, and I'm kind of like looking around going, is there a camera somewhere? There was no camera, it was just bad service, which is, you know.
And where was it? Can you name and shame?
I don't want to name the place where it was, because I don't like naming places if they give bad service. Yeah, if they give bad service, because I don't think you should name and shame a company or a small business for one day's bad service, because you don't know what happened that day in that business. Staff could have called in sick, a delivery couldn't have been ordered, people could be sick, there could be supply issues, whatever. And I go, you should never judge a business just on one simple thing. And there's people out there that do reviews. I went to this place and it was really bad. Yeah, but we've all had bad days. Give the place, if it's a coffee shop or something like that, like go in 3 or 4 times. And then make your assessment on the
what if in the third time it's still ass shit?
But then it's shit then.
But then do you go back the fourth time?
Well, it's up to you then. But my point is, I would never slam a business, especially a small business, that could hurt them. Like if you go to a local coffee shop and you have a bad experience, don't slam it.
But what if the experience isn't related to the service?
What do you mean?
Like if you go into a coffee shop and the barista gropes you?
Well, that's a police issue.
Yeah, right, okay.
What I'm talking about is slow service, cold food, somebody forgetting your order, staff being rude, blah blah blah. It's go right. Look, this restaurant or this cafe is having a bad day. I'm not going to go online and hammer it. I'm just going to say, look, we all have bad days. Give them the benefit of the doubt and come back again another time.
But also going online with stuff's a wee bit out of pocket as well, isn't it?
I think like going online for stuff like that is. I think people who race to online straight away to react. Without actually thinking about
the implications.
Like you know about circumstantial evidence. We've spoken about this before, haven't we?
Yes. Well, you know what? I did a degree in criminology and criminal justice, and I studied criminal law. So
did I talk about what circumstantial evidence is with the dog?
No, you haven't.
Right. So I find this quite fascinating, and I'm sure you're very aware of this, right? So circumstantial evidence. So imagine this. Imagine you go to a coffee shop, and you say, sit down, you get a coffee, and say, can I get a coffee and a bowl of porridge or something, right? The porridge is cold, the coffee is cold, the service is all over the place, the staff aren't interested, food is taking ages, and you're like, this is a shit experience. There's people then who will literally go home and go online. I went to this place, and it was this, and it was that, and it was that. And I go, you know what? I hate those people. Yes, you're entitled to complain, but have the balls to go up to a manager or somebody and say, excuse me. But if you don't have the balls to do it face to face, you should not be legally allowed to go online and batter them.
Yeah.
Because you can do that anonymously, and that's not cool. So, but you don't know why that staff member's having a bad day. Okay? And I always think maybe there's something else going on that we're fully unaware of. So you could be in a restaurant, your porridge could be delayed and cold. Why? Because 20 minutes ago, the microwave or the grill or the pots or whatever or the gas ran out and you didn't know, and a chef hasn't turned up on time, and a delivery was spilled out the back, or a staff member slept in and they never opened the kitchen on time and they're panicking and they're trying to catch themselves up, right? We've all done that.
Yeah.
So circumstantial evidence, this is my example, right? So
there's
a dog here, right? So this woman lives in a house, right? And she's got a dog, right? And she lives next door to a lovely man. And the man decides to go on holiday. And he's an elderly man, and he lives on his own. And they're lovely neighbours, and they're lovely friends. And this elderly man has about 5 grandchildren. So when the grandchildren come and visit, what he decided to do was he wanted the grandchildren to enjoy their time there. So didn't he get a pet rabbit for the house? And he had a little hutch at the back of the house and all that. And the grandkids would love the rabbit. And then one particular day, he knocked on the door and he said, Maura, I'm off to Spain for a week's holidays. Will you do me a favour? He says, will you keep an eye out in the house for me? And Maura says, I'll keep an eye out in the house for you. He goes off to Spain. 2 days later, Maura gets up and she comes down and she's washing the dishes in the kitchen, and she looks out into the garden, and her dog has the rabbit in his mouth, and the rabbit is dead. And Maura's absolutely furious. What to do? And he's banging the rabbit off the ground and all that. So she panics. She's mortified. She goes out, she gets the dead rabbit, and she brings him into her house. And she tidies him up.
Okay.
To make him look presentable.
Okay.
She goes out.
Like, what is she? Like some sort of taxidermist?
I don't know what she is, but this is the story, right?
Okay.
She goes out and goes into his garden, and she puts the rabbit back in the hutch and locks the thing and says, say nothing. Nothing happened. I saw none. Your man comes back from holiday, and he knocks on the door, and he says, Maura, I had a great time in Spain, but something terrible's after happening. And she's like, what's after happening? He goes, before I went on holiday, my rabbit was dead and he was buried in the garden. Now he's sitting up in the hutch.
Oh no.
That's called circumstantial evidence. So what Maura saw wasn't actually real.
No.
Maura saw her dog with a dead rabbit, and she was convinced that her dog had killed the rabbit. But the rabbit was already dead. But he had dug the rabbit up out of the ground. But she didn't know that. So she then panicked and thought the dog had killed the rabbit, and then tried to cover her tracks. But by covering her tracks, she actually made it worse.
Yeah. So
what I'm trying to say to you is, sometimes what you see in life that is happening isn't always the case.
And that's what the old saying goes, isn't it? It's not always what it seems.
There you go.
But then I think there's a certain breed of person who...
So how do I relate that to coffee shop? Sorry.
Yeah.
When you go to a coffee shop, sometimes, yes, you are seeing bad service, but just take a second to think to yourself, there's something probably going on here that I'm unaware of that has had this impact. So let's just relax, and hopefully they can get it sorted out before we attack.
But have you ever felt the urge to get online and review something? I think it's a worst
I
kind of thing
only
to do.
review. So like I say, if like, you know, because we go to London or travel a bit, I've booking.com account, and I review the hotels, because they're always saying to me, like, can you please leave a review for this hotel? I will only leave a review if it's positive, if it's 10 out of 10, and I review a lot. Like,
I would be with you on that. Like I would often joke with Catherine if we're away somewhere. I'd be like, I'm going to TripAdvisor this. I'll go on and I'll write my wee review. What I think about it. Good time.
I will only review. So I stayed in a hotel there recently. It was good price. And it was probably one of the best stays I've ever had in a hotel on this island in Ireland. And I left a review. And every single thing I read went, this was one of the best experiences I've ever had in a hotel. The staff, I just went everything. Now, if I went there and I had a bang average time, I wouldn't have left a review. Yep. Because I don't believe, and people go, oh yeah, but the businesses need to know where they need to improve. Okay, so if you've got a bad experience in that hotel and you think they could, I don't know, change the pillows, they could sort the temperature in the room, they could have quicker service at the bar, they could, why aren't you saying that in the reception?
Yeah.
Well, because, you obviously, if it's a real issue for you, you do it face to face. If it's not an issue for you, you'll sneakily do it online.
It's radish. It's
I just think it's a bit shitty thing to do. Like,
but I also think people now are so bred to not deal with problems.
Yeah,
face on, but that they'll go online and do it. Like now, I feel like I've mentioned my sister a few times in the last couple of weeks in this podcast, but she is not a confrontational person. She will rather send an email, but sometimes emails don't get shit done. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. Now she's 5 years younger than me. And I think that's a generation thing that she's creeped into the more, like, you pick up the phone and if you have a problem, you get it dealt with quicker. See all this online stuff, like, nothing frustrates me more. And I always think about the elderly people who can't just go online and deal with their stuff. You know, they want to pick up the phone. Oh, it's an automated service. No, put me through to a person. Yeah, let me talk it through.
There should be
tone.
Do you know what should happen? Things like BT, Virgin, Vodafone, O2, Firmus, Power NI should have a dedicated number for people over the age of 60.
Oh, 100%.
Just to ring. And it goes straight to a human being. Go, look, are you over 60? If you ring this number, we'll have your date of birth on the system anyway. We know that you're over 60. You will get a person straight away, and you don't have to do any of this automated stuff.
And you know, I think too, the old people going online are more susceptible to fall for fraud as well. And they'll panic. And like, there'll be, I watched a movie recently, The Beekeeper, starring Jason Statham. And the whole premise, have you seen John Wick?
Yeah.
You know why his whole everything stemmed from somebody killing his dog? Somebody frauded John Wick's, or the beekeeper's friendly house neighbour. So he stayed in like her guest house. Someone took all her money, all her life savings and everything, and then she killed herself. And then that was him going, I'm going out to get the people who, the Bitcoin-y people who did that to her. So
revenge is
a best served cold with honey.
Isn't it? We often tend to go down a road whenever I come onto your podcast about crime and people and people's behaviours. We seem to do something like that. I did talk to you a little bit, maybe we should do some sort of investigations filming. So I have a guy that defrauded me many years ago and I'd love to find him. So I'm going to show you a picture of him, and then the news articles, he ended up going to prison. And I want to find this man, and I would love
to kill him.
No, just
no, this is not good enough. I need a bigger.
That's him there. Like.
I need a bigger. Oh man.
So he owes me a lot of money.
Oh, and where do you think he is now?
He's in England somewhere. So I'm thinking about starting a campaign online to go, let's find this man, find out where he is, where he works, if he does have a job, or is he still committing crime. And we would turn up with a camera crew and I would try and get my money back, but obviously it would be an incredibly violent episode.
You know what? Let's get him, let's get that other guy, you know, that we talked about on Cork in the North the last time. Let's get Toby. Let's go with a pitch to people and go, these are two people we're trying to find.
So, but we try to find him and kind of confront him in a sort of a BBC rogue traders way.
Yeah, but what would you ask him other than...
I just said to him, hi, you owe me money.
And then,
my money, please?
Would I be with you? But if I look like this...
No, we'd have a crew of people.
But if I don't say anything and I just look like this, it looks like I'm there to beat him. See, if I'm standing behind you like this, and you're like, I believe you owe me money, I'll be like, oh.
Yeah.
It'll look
but I don't know who he's connected with, so this is the problem. Like, you know what I mean?
But then I feel sometimes in life things...
I just feel it's unfinished business for me.
They're a wee bit pedestrian, aren't they? Like, our lives need the threat of potentially a gang hit on us.
Of murder. Yeah, but you've got kids, mate.
Yeah, but you know what? Maybe I won't after the scammer comes after them and
yeah,
kidnaps them.
But I do think we should do something.
Well, I'm up for that, because I like... You know what I like? People getting their comeuppance.
Oh.
I love it. I love to see it. It doesn't happen enough in this world.
People getting their comeuppance, people getting like I'd be a big idiot now for sitting on TikTok and watching instant karma videos and Karens getting arrested in America and all this kind of stuff. I ain't getting off the plane 2 minutes later, they're dragged off, handcuffed by the police and all this kind of stuff. I love all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, see,
I would spend hours watching that. I don't, but I could.
But that is good to see. But then sometimes too, like there was a guy that was one of the there's a road rage thing, and there was a video of a guy, and he came and battered someone's window, and the guy opened the window and he goes, "Yeah, I will beat your dick. I will beat," and he was like, "What?" And he goes, "Oh no, fuck! I didn't mean that." And the guy was so raging. "I will beat your dick off. I will beat it off." And he's like, "Oh well, you know."
It's like someone. I just think if anyone ever breaks into your house, just stand at the top of the stairs, balls naked, and as they break in, just look at them and just start pulling yourself off and go, "Do you want it? Do you want it? Do you want it?" They'll run out of that house as quickly as possible.
See, that would stress me out though, because I've actually thought about this. I saw something on the TV. It was one of like one of the maybe like a 999 or something, but they were Crime Stoppers. But I was saying that nowadays burglars are advanced. They don't do what they used to do. Like remember back in the good old days of burglary, they'd have the wee striped jumpers on. They'd have you'd know what they're about. They'd have a bag that said swag on it, and if you saw them go down the street, you'd be like, "Oh, he's up to no good today." Nowadays, apparently, they go in, they break in your house, and they take weapons that they can use within your house. So a big thing would be to like grab a kettle, boil the kettle, and take a boiling kettle, and if anyone comes out, fuck the kettle on them, or grab a knife and get you when they're going around. Now, I got my house broken into when I was living just off the Lisburn Road. Now, what had happened there, I had a housemate who was very fond of cannabis and had gone out to smoke a big fat joint out the back and left the back door open. Stupid. But the guy came in, and I had a French housemate who, again, that doesn't...
Probably on strike.
It doesn't matter that he was French, but it's just for the sake of him coming up to me was funnier. So the front room was made into a bedroom in that house. So the person, obviously, the burglar, thought they were going into like a dining room. But then my housemate Eve was there, and he jumped out of bed and was like, "What are you doing?" And the guy then threw a coat on him. So he had grabbed one of our coats, threw a coat, and then ran off with my PlayStation.
You never caught him?
No. But then I had to do a check of the house around the perimeter, and like when you assess it, it's good for breaking into. Like you had a wall over the back.
It's welcoming to burglars.
Oh, it's good. So he'd come up to me, he's like, "Oh my God, David," and then I was like, "Yeah," and he goes, "There was a man in my bedroom." And I was like, "Well, listen, each their own. Work away." And he goes, "No, I did not want him there. He broke in." And I was like, "Oh no." So
I did not want him there.
Yeah, so
it's a long way around of going, "We've been burgled."
Yeah, and then, but then he said to me, he's like, "I was going to box him." I was like, "What?" He goes, "But he got away." And I was like, "Why did you say box him?" "I was to box him." And then he stole the PlayStation, and that was a bit shitty. But in that moment, he had taken but then we found that the coat was lying in Eve's room, and a knife from the kitchen lying on the kitchen floor. So he'd obviously grabbed the coat and a knife and had armed himself. When
he was ready to attack, defend himself, or attack
whatever.
People if they came.
So then I got all this in my head about the knife and other stuff, and I thought, I sleep upstairs, and I slept naked at the time.
Yeah.
So then if I'm coming to the stairs
and you see him
to get him, he's coming up the stairs as I'm coming down the stairs.
You should grab your erect penis.
No, but I would have struggled to have an erect penis in this circumstance.
Do you not get excited for that kind of stuff?
No. Well, if it was a nice, sexy woman, breaking in, and then the only way she gets out is, if she makes a deal with the devil, so to speak. But my worry was my older man, long balls hanging down in swipe zone. They're getting cut off, so I now sleep in pants. Not for any other reason.
Right, okay.
If I get broken into, I might have my balls cut off. So.
I often find that, often think about what would you do if your house gets broken into. It's such a strange invasion of your privacy, isn't it?
Oh, it's the worst.
But the balls of people to go into someone's house.
No, and we had another time, it wasn't a break-in, but it was that we left the front door unlocked, and there was a blocked student that just walked in thinking it was his house. And we're like, "This is not your house." And he's like, "It is." And we went, "Do we live for you?" And he went, "No." And then he's like, "Oh, it's not my house," and walked out. So it's weird when someone's in your house that shouldn't be. But see, when they break in, it freaked me out that I was just in bed sleeping, and I come in, and thankfully.
Did you ever see that video of the guy in Glasgow, and he went to a house party and just woke up in this woman's house, and she let him sleep and cooked him breakfast?
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'm just woken up in this woman's house. She's dead on. Yeah. She's cooked me breakfast and this. How you doing, love?" And she's like, "Yeah, good. I just went in the back door and fell asleep on a sofa, and this woman woke up and just." He'd gone looking for a house party and found the wrong party and all this.
See, but then in that circumstance, what might happen if it was somebody else? You could just kill them.
Yeah.
You know?
If you woke up, excuse me for yawning.
So you worked out very hard today. You deserved it.
If you woke up and you walked downstairs and you saw a guy sleeping who was doing no threat or no harm to you and your family, just on your sofa, you'd be like, your first, it's fight or flight, like, isn't it? Like, it's like, get the fuck out, or it's like, excuse me, why are you in here? You have to assess it very quickly because you don't know really how you're going to react.
No, you don't. You're in it. Like. You would not. But again, I think I'd probably just throw someone out of my house if they were there. I wouldn't want, because then my kids would come down and be like, "Who's this dude?"
That's your other daddy.
Yeah, my wife would come down. I don't know, but then she would be expecting me to deal with it. She'd be like, "If you don't deal with it, I'll deal with it." I'm like, I don't want you to have to toss the guy.
Suck him off. Suck him off.
Yeah, or suck him off. I mean, I'm not going to suck. I'd rather her suck him off than me. You know, but you wouldn't like either. But see, if she was like, "Are you going to suck him off, or am I going to have to do it?" I'd be like, "Well, you're going to have to do it. I can't." You know, I could throw him out of the house, but I wouldn't suck him off unless he did a shower first. Maybe, I don't know.
Before you chuck him out, could you shower first? Just to
just to be sure. Like, I don't know why sucking off is an option in the scenario.
I just created it for no reason, and then we just ran with it.
Yeah. Have you ever had anyone broken into?
I had a house in Manchester broke. I wasn't in the house at the time, but they didn't steal anything of mine because I had no value. I didn't even own a computer or a laptop.
Did you live with anyone else?
Yeah, it was my friend. Yeah, they stole his laptop.
Fucking fool. And are you still friends with the friend now?
I am, yeah. He's a lovely fella. He's a lovely fella.
You need to get your face in for the clips.
He's a lovely fella, Matt, firefighter. I haven't seen him now for 15 years, maybe 20 years.
Since the burglary?
I haven't seen him since the burglary.
Did you do the burglary? Is this
what
happened?
You'd be like,
I didn't have a laptop until after the burglary.
Then I had a laptop and a load of new watches and a few cameras and all this kind of stuff. No, I've never been involved in a burglary. My mum got hijacked driving one night. She got hijacked.
Where was that?
Car. In Cork.
In Cork?
People tried to ram her off the road and hijack her. She had to jump out of the car and jump into a ditch. And they didn't take her car, but they kind of raided the car. But she jumped out with a handbag and there was nothing.
Was it like a gang or?
Yeah, just 3 lads. Yeah. I'm talking now. This is what, like mid-90s.
See, my initial thought is the Troubles. Was this what it was?
No, this is Cork, like.
Just scallies, like.
Yeah, well, obviously, like local drug dealers or people looking for a quick fix or whatever, you know.
Joyriders.
And my mother is like, she was deaf in one ear, like.
Afterwards or before?
No, before it. Like, she just stood in the ditch and then the left, she got back into the car and drove home, called the police and drove home. This was before, like, she didn't even have a mobile, you see.
Why is her being deaf in one ear relevant?
I actually don't know.
I thought you were going to tell me something like that.
I don't know why I said she was deaf in one ear. There's absolutely no need for me to have mentioned the fact that my mother was deaf in her it's her left ear as well. If you want to know
you're
which
going to say
ear
maybe like whenever they
because sometimes when I would talk to my mum, when I often think to my mum when I would talk to her, she would always lean in with her right ear.
Yeah.
So I'd say if I'd say ma, and if she was looking at me like this, she'd be like, yes son, or and sometimes I would go up and talk to her in her left ear. I'd be like, well, she'd be like, what are you saying? So there was absolutely no need. My mother was deaf in her left ear. Yeah. She had a hearing aid, right? And she lost the hearing aid in Dunnes Stores. And I remember the hearing aid cost her about 800 quid, like. And I remember walking around Dunnes Stores on a Saturday afternoon, like looking for the hearing aid. And she thinks she lost it, like, from fruit and veg all the way over to pastries. We were up and down the aisle. We weren't buying anything, and she was up and down, and she couldn't hear anything. Like, she could hear us, but if we were right close to her, but she never found that hearing aid, and I don't think she ever got over it. And it was like the late 90s, and even up until before she died, she used to always talk about that day we went looking for the hearing aid, and the hearing aid's like that size,
like smaller than AirPods.
Yeah, the hearing aid's tiny, like. And she was deaf in one ear now, so there's some information for you.
Yeah, at one point I thought there was maybe like she might have been hit by something, or those like pulling her out or hit her, or might have caused it, like perforated the eardrum or something.
No, she's just completely deaf in one ear, like. Dave.
And how did she get out of the ditch?
Did someone walked out of it?
Was the car?
She was driving down the road.
Car
flashing at her. And she thought, something's happened.
The guards.
A car comes over beside her and kind of boxes her in. They hit her, like, they tapped her, like, and stuff. So she freaked out. The car pulled up in front of her. She didn't know what to do, and they said, "Get out, get out, get out." So she got out with her bag, and she was just screaming. Walked into a ditch off the side of the road, and they like were trying to rob the thing, but they never went near her. And then they got back into the car and drove off. She's obviously shaking, like, and she didn't know what to do. And they left her keys there and everything. And then she got into the car and she just drove home and rang the guards at home. And then the guards contacted her, did a statement. Never heard. Now, I was only fucking 8 or 9 years of age. Like, I mean, I wasn't told this story till like a month after it happened, until everybody had calmed down about it. Like,
I think you should follow it up now.
I think I need to find these people
and ask. Yeah, add it to the thing.
Who hijacked me mother, who's deaf in one ear, in Mallow in 1996.
I think that's what you need to find out.
Do you know what I mean?
Imagine the guards, and like, they obviously have records of everything, so you have to be like, listen to that. Ever come to anything there? Was there ever a freedom of information request?
Oh, listen to this. I'll tell you a funny story about the guards down south, right? Many years ago, when I started driving at 17, you know, you could drive on a provisional license without a full license. It was Ireland back in the 90s was fucking some of the laws, some of the ways, things you could get away with were just brilliant, right? But I remember once I didn't give right away at a roundabout or something, and the guards pulled me over. I was only 17, but it was my mother's car, so legally they couldn't take the car off me. But remember the guard being an absolute prick. And he came up and he was like, "Oh, you think you're really cool with your chick?" He called my girlfriend a chick, right? And I was like, the attitude on him. And I said, "Oh, sorry, like, I just made an error of judgment." He was like, "Well, you're young now and you're driving and all this. You're an absolute disgrace. And I'd take this car off you if it was your car," and all this kind of stuff. And "Get the hell out of here now," and all this kind of stuff, right? 6 months later, he was at a wedding in a hotel that I was working at the bar, that guard. And I saw him and I went, fucking yes. And I said, everyone behind the bar, I said, when we do last call, if this guy comes up to the bar, now somebody could go up and buy him a drink, like, but if he comes up, nobody is to serve him. And we saw him near the bar, and we were calling last call, and we thought, please come up. And as soon as he comes up, I went, sorry, we're closed. You know, like, I wanted to give him that, but he never came up. But he got into the residence bar, right? But he wasn't a resident, so I had him kicked out.
And that's back to the joy of.
So I said to the security, I went, he's not a resident, so he needs to leave. And there wasn't that many left over from the wedding that went in, so say there was about 6 or 7. And this guy went, "Sorry guys, you're all residents? Sir, you're not a resident?" And he went, "Oh no, yeah." He goes, well, you know you're not a resident. We know you're not a resident, so unfortunately you need to leave." And if he kicked off, the sergeant goes, "Oh, would you want us to call the guards?"
Yeah.
And he had to go, you see.
And did you, please tell me you were just enough in the distance watching?
Oh, I loved it. Oh, like as soon as he walked out, I was just just standing there.
Like, yeah, I'll take that off.
Take that off, yeah.
It was yours, bro.
But like, I often like, I'm not a, I would say, I wouldn't be a very confrontational person, right? But I internalise a lot of things. Like, I saw an old school teacher of mine at Cork Airport many years ago, and I actually felt like going over to him and saying, do you want to be a prick to me now? Like,
and when you say a prick, what did he do?
It was aggressive, it was rude, physical.
And was that, what year would that have been?
1997.
So he shouldn't have still been.
I'll never forget this, right? We were doing PE in school in Christian Brothers College, Cork, and the teacher had a whistle. So you have a string. And there was a guy next to me in school. He didn't do it to me, he did it to a guy that was in my ear. And he was doing that with the whistle, you know, the rope, the string on the whistle, like he's doing that. And a guy, Simon, who I was in school with, he was a lovely fella, ran past, you know, to do something. And I remember he just whipped him on the back of his knee.
Oh, that's
right? And the following day, Simon came in and he rolled up his trousers, and I'll never forget the bruise, like, it was purple. Like.
How were you?
No, I'll never forget the bruise, right? And I thought, what a prick of a teacher to do that to someone for no reason, right? Now, obviously, it was the 90s and things are obviously very different now. I mean, if you look at a child in the wrong way, even if you look at them, Ofsted or in, and the parents are like, "Oh my God, my Charlie's really special," and all this, right? But I often thought to myself, like, if I ever saw that teacher again, I'd confront him about it, because I heard a story from another comedian about a school teacher. He was a secondary school teacher in Mayo, and he was a prick apparently to all the students. Like, he was really nasty, like in the late 80s and the early 90s. And all those kids grow up, you know.
Yeah.
And they all stay in the same area. A lot of them will stay in the same area. That teacher now is banned from all the pubs. Like, people are like, we're not serving you. You're a prick. When we were in school, you used to physically slap kids. Now you're walking into the pub and those kids are there. Where's your fucking bravery now? Like, you know. So I often felt like confronting that teacher about it, but he didn't do it to me. But I still witnessed it though. And I still thought it was horrendous behaviour. Now, I know all that kind of stuff has stopped, but I'm just not that type of person to probably confront it, because I don't know. Do you put it down to a sign of the times that maybe he's learnt his lesson? I often felt like confronting him about it, like.
But then,
but what I get out of it, though.
Yeah, but I thought whenever you were going to tell me that story about the teacher in Mayo, I thought you were going to say they all ganged up and killed him.
No. I think apparently he was many years after when he retired. I think he was going into a few pubs and a few people recognised him and they said, I think he got confronted in one of the pubs and said, "Listen, you're such a arsehole of a prick of a teacher. We're going to make sure you'll never ever get served in any of these pubs now because my brother owns that pub, his mate owns that pub. It's like a small village, and they basically said to the guy, like, this is your fucking karma now. Like,
this is your last orders.
You can still be a really strict teacher, but in a good way.
Yeah.
I had some teachers who were really strict with me, absolutely brilliant teachers. Donal O'Mahony was a school teacher that I had in Christians. Donal is a selector in the Cork hurling team now. I think he's still there. I'm not too.
Donal O'Mahony.
Donal O'Mahony. Just checking him. He was my maths teacher. Probably hated me. I was a nightmare for him.
Yeah.
He probably hated my guts. But he actually made me pass maths. I was failing all the time. And he was very strict with me, like.
Yeah.
But he said to me, like, all you have to do is this. And if you just do this little bit, you'll get that. And he used to shout at me, but he knew how to manage me. And he is one of two teachers that I remember.
Yeah.
And I actually really liked the guy because I liked how he was well able to look at me and go, right, Andrew's a bit of a waster. He's not doing any work. He's causing me a bit of problems. What do? Do you know what I do? I figure out how to manage him to make him feel included. And he actually encouraged me, and I ended up passing my maths and my leaving cert because of him.
See?
And then the other teacher, I want to knock the fucking head off.
Yeah.
Just.
But it's mad. I still think of some of my teachers, and like you say, it's mad to think. A lot of them are hard to remember. Like a lot of them, you're like, I don't even know who taught me that or what they.
Yeah.
But then there's a few that you go, they stick out. Some for good reasons, others for bad. But I mean, I think there's a couple. I had a rugby coach who was so hard on me, but it was like, and like to the point that when I met him out, like as an adult, he was almost like he had like he reminded me a wee bit of Tim Curry, from that sort of like grin he had, and I was almost like, yeah, I knew what I was doing to you, but you're and to be fair, you're a big lump of shite. I think he was sort of, and like with rugby, it's like I knew you could have been good, but I was just getting it out of you, and you had to do it.
Yeah, and I
respected him a lot.
I like teachers who, but I think it all comes down to how people speak to people, how you manage people.
Yeah.
Like, you think of like, say somebody now, like my old school teacher Donal O'Mahony, like for example, he's obviously a selector for Cork hurling. He's involved in sports and team sports, right? So he's dealing with 30, 40 players, big personalities, different backgrounds, different problems. He's obviously has to have his own maturity to be like, right, I can't just walk into a room and shout at everyone because everyone's going to react differently. It's like when I watched the documentary on Sir Alex Ferguson and stuff like that, all the players turned because he knew how to manage people individually. He'd slag you off for not wearing a tie, but Eric Cantona would turn up in a sheepskin jacket and go, oh, look at that, that's fashion. And you go, how can you attack me? And he goes, yeah, because he is different, so he has to be managed differently.
Yeah.
You just see what I mean? And I think that's people management is so difficult. But the people who do get it right, I think it's such a great asset to have and a skill to have, No,
100%. But I also agree that there should be some rules that people have to adhere to.
Like
uniforms in schools. Big on that.
You think it's good?
I think you know what? If places have rules, I think if you want to go to those places, you should obey the rules.
Oh, I wore a uniform in school. I have nothing against wearing a uniform.
But there was uniform rules, and you had like for example, you weren't allowed your sideburns to be past your ear. So they'd mark your uniform card, and then eventually, if you got like 3 marks in your uniform card, you got detention. Had to have your top button in.
Yeah.
Had to a weird one I always remember was if you bow, your fringe shouldn't go across your nose.
I got done for my fringe, and I got done for the Titans for a one blade. I got done once in school for wearing a black T-shirt under a white shirt. I went to, the school I went to, we had to wear blazers and stuff, and I did enjoy my time there. I don't have amazing memories of some of the teachers, but some of the other teachers were absolutely brilliant.
But do you ever remember specific things that teachers ever said to you that you've gone, that was weird, but also it stuck with me?
Yeah. But I think there was one or two teachers had my card marked before I went to school because my brother had a big falling out with the school many years previously. He was accused of bullying a kid, which ultimately came out to being false. But he was a really good rugby player for the school, and one of the Christian brothers, one of the brothers, slapped my brother in the face.
Oh, wow.
So my brother asked for an apology and they wouldn't give an apology, so he decided not to play rugby until he got his apology. But it was a big rugby school that has produced a lot of Irish internationals, and because of that, some of the teachers who were involved in that rugby fell out with my brother because he didn't go back to play the rugby. But my brother stuck by his kind of principle.
I like that from him.
And then when I went in school, I remember a school teacher I had, Matty Foley, used to say to me, "Ryan, you're a waster. Your brother was a waster." And he just called me a waster all the time. So when he didn't even have any hope in me, so I just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
It was like, so it was really weird. It was really weird time, like, because if you think about it, like, I think from what I've know, like 60s school, 70s school, 80s school, 90s school, not too massively dissimilar. School in the 2000s, complete gear change, child safety, you know, people were hit in school. I saw a guy in school when I was in school was caned. When I was in primary school, a teacher kicked me in the head.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I was a pain in the arse, but I should not be kicked in the head.
Yeah, it's true. But then sometimes teachers see you, don't they? And they know if you're decent crack. They're like, maybe you're not going to be the smartest of the subject, but you're sound. So we'll just like...
Yeah, I find it baffling. Like, I find that a bit sort of like odd, you know. And the teachers that took an interest in me, I actually made an effort for them.
Yep, I was...
But I was a bad student, like I wasn't a good student.
Yeah.
So I could understand a lot of the time they were just like, fuck this kid.
See, I think a lot of teachers with me were like, why you have clear potential here, but you're just not putting in any work. Why are you turning up to wind us up?
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, that would be so annoying. I remember once I was entertaining some friends by pretending to simulate whipping an HE teacher with a towel. So I was whipping the towel up and just missing. And then I hit her so flush, right in the arse. She chased me around the central table of HE, and when she caught me, she beat the shit out of me.
Did she?
Like, just like this, but it was almost like, you know, like a mum would beat you. So you were like, stop it. No, and she was like, you wee shit. And I was like, but then when I take a step back and go, oh, she just beat the shit out of me there. Yeah. And she was such a wee woman as well that it was like, it was funny almost. But I sort of
did that go any further in terms of going to the principal?
But then she apologised to me afterwards. And then I was like, look, never worry. But it became sort of almost funny because I was like, you know, like, chase me. Yeah. But then I'm still getting beaten by a teacher. You know, and then I remember another teacher who genuinely said to me, a rugby coach, he said, I went in for a meeting about trying to, like, and he was always big on trying to get, like, he liked to build the team environment. He liked everyone to be all part of, like, something different to everything else. He was like, we are a team, we're different than everything. So he goes, this is a genuine quote, he goes, Dave, there's two kinds of people in this world, people like me and dicks. And he goes, so either you're with me or you're a dick. And I was like, well, I mean, I guess I'm with you then. He goes, good. And that was it. But he's done some of the funniest things without me. Like, he loved the double entendre. So he loved to, like, make... But sometimes, you know, like, when people make jokes, they don't land. Like, I remember one day we were in the school sports hall, and he brought I did PE at A level, and he brought the A level students and the AS level, so the upper sixth and lower sixth. So a lot of these guys and girls I didn't know who were in the year below us, so we're all just around together. So again, these people don't know me, I don't know them, and he's talking to everyone about how we're going to be assessed for the practical of PE. So like, obviously a lot of these play team sports. You have some rugby players, some hockey players, people do netball, people play other sports that the school don't do, like such as football, and golf was one as well, I think, that they weren't. And he said, so for me to analyse you, I'll not be able to watch everyone. So if you're playing football, so he goes, my mate Mark, he goes, Mark's playing football, so what you'll need to do is you'll need to get a tape recording of your match so I can assess you for your A-level score. And then for some reason he went, and not the kind of tapes you watch, Dave. And then everyone was kind of like, what does he mean? And he took a beat and he went, yeah, porn, blue movies, hardcore, like this. And I was like, all right. And these people are looking at me going, oh, dirty wee pervert. And I was like, and he was, oh, you know, and he was just laughing his head off that he was.
But that's telling me that he's the one watching the stuff.
Yeah. And then he did another thing once that was, again, wholly inappropriate. Was a girl in our PE class running, like, you know, the ladders in the ground.
Yeah.
And he was running, and she was running it really bad, basically. And he was like, no, your form's totally wrong. Get your knees and go quicker. And then he goes, I'm gonna chase you. I want to get you. I'm gonna bomb you. Like that. We were all like, what? And then, to be fair, never has anyone's form been quicker. But he did so many things like that.
And he's now in prison for bumming or something.
Yeah, I mean, and he did the other thing was without doubt top 10 funniest things I've seen in my whole life. We had a wee step, you know, that you do like step aerobics too. Yeah. And we're doing circuit training one lunchtime, and I got this step, and I sort of analysed it and was like, oh, it's not going to take my weight. And I sort of standing looking at it, and he goes, Dave, come on, the time, why aren't you doing it? And I was like, I just think I'm a bit heavy, I think I'll break it. He goes, Dave, I'm 23 stone. And he walked over, and he perfect form, crouched down, jumped up to land on it, obliterated. And he's like, well, yeah, so it was one of the funniest, because you know how PE teachers always perfect form, got down, up he gets, obliterates it on the floor. And he's probably like, I have such fond memories, but again in a humorous way, because like as a teacher he's probably wick, but as a guy, so classic.
Oh, brilliant.
So funny. And then,
some teachers, man, are great. Like, some of them are so inappropriate as well. But you kind of appreciate them, you know. But and like,
he was a master of, if you know what I mean, you know, and then sometimes you didn't.
You know, you're like, just do that over there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we went on a rugby tour to South Africa, and he was out in this poolside, and he wore speedos, and he's a big man, a big second row rugby player, and he was just like at his speedos, and he came over and we had some sun cream, and he was like, Dave, do you have any sun cream? And I said, yeah, and he said something along the lines, but not the sort of cream you spread, if you know what I mean. And I was like, all right. He goes, just from a bald head, and he's put it on.
I'd have gone, what, salad cream?
Yeah, it's like, well, he was just so. But like, I think he's one of those guys who, if you were like a fellow teacher, he'd have been great crack. Like, see around the staff room and like.
Oh, I'd say he was a right laugh, yeah.
Tremendous. But as a pupil of maybe between the ages of 16 to 18, you were like, and see when he turned it on, like cross with you, whoa. He was like,
don't mess with him, like
the closest to a polar bear that a human could be. He was so loud, and like you were properly scared. See, if he hit you, he would kill you. But hilarious guy, really fun.
Oh, that's good.
Really fond of him, actually.
That's good. Did you ever see where he is now?
Well, the last thing I saw of him was I'm friends with him on Facebook, and he wished me happy birthday a couple of years back. But he used, like, you know, the wee avatars of like yourself. And it was just like a wee avatar of him waving at me, wishing me up. And it was like, and it really made my day. It was so fun.
You were like, I used to respect you. Yeah, you're sending me like, fucking memes.
But then I think, like, the whole time he's just, a PE teacher, well respected amongst the school, but just a banter merchant, really. Yeah. He's the guy having a great day. You know, every day's a school day, literally. Have fun for him. You know, he's just
mad.
And Lord knows what else he said or done over the years. But
it's crazy, like.
He was hilarious.
It's good.
But nowadays they're all just, they have to be, you can't have banter with kids anymore.
You can't have banter with kids anymore, no. You can't whack them around the head. Can't whip them with a whistle.
No more of this anymore either. None of it. We had a teacher once who got into the showers with us after an away game. Balls naked down King's Hospital in Dublin was a school we played rugby against, and he just popped in the shower, and I thought it's weird. I have a rule that I think is pretty fair. It's that you shouldn't see your teacher's penis.
I think that's a fair rule.
But he saw his penis.
Especially if you're in a girls' school.
Yeah, true. But then it's probably... Here, speaking of penises and other things, do you think it's weird now? Because it only dawned on me when I was watching something on YouTube, and a woman appeared and was like, the ad on YouTube was sponsored by Love Honey,
right,
which is a sex toy online shop. And this woman was like, oh, if you sign up to Love Honey, you can get 10% off this toy or whatever. She goes, I bought this toy and it's brilliant. I use it all the time. And it's just on your YouTube video. But that's kind of just like a guy turning up being like, listen, I've just had a wank. Enjoy the video. It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Think of it like that.
But if a guy turns up and he goes, hey guys, see this, what's this beer called?
Modest Beer.
Modest Beer. Hey guys, if you sign up to Modest Beer, you can drink this beer while having a wank.
I mean, that's the new ad. Yeah.
So, Modest Beer for a good wank.
For a good wank.
No, you don't need the machine. You don't need the Modest Beer. Oh. You can just do it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think I've ever had a wank whilst having a beer.
I'm trying to think where the maddest places I've had one.
No, I had one friend. God
in a funeral home.
Pardon?
Sorry.
Because I had one friend who is no longer with us, rest in peace. He once told me that it was snowing outside, and he just thought that he should jump over the fence and have a wank behind his neighbour's like oak tree in the snow, and he did. And I just never really got why.
That's weird.
He did it, and he just had this overwhelming urge to do it. And he said, like, it does sound like something that you would write poetry about in the 1700s.
It's disgusting.
I was lying on the back of an oak tree, masturbating in the snow. And all of a sudden, a snowflake landed on my nose.
Yeah, and Ethel came out to do the bins.
I thought I must propose to my darling O'Shea.
Yeah,
immediately. But yeah, it's weird. I've never gone. I like a place. I must go and do this.
No, it's not. I'm quite vanilla. I'm quite conservative when it comes to stuff like that.
On last week's podcast with Alan Irwin on, and he was saying there's no better place for sexual activities than a bed. You know, all these people do it in weird places. A bed is ideal for what you need.
Yeah, it's set up predominantly for that. You can do it, and you can have a sleep after.
Yeah, and a wank.
Whatever it is, and there's a toilet normally nearby.
And then sometimes you can like read books, like you can watch things on laptops. You can watch those YouTube videos of people getting their comeuppance while you're getting your comeuppance. Yeah,
kick them off the plane. Come on.
Yeah, we're just reading good reviews about these cafes.
Oh yeah,
they're having a good day
service.
Today.
I'll give you a fucking good service.
Right, listen, I know you've places to be and people to see. I have a few questions for you that people want to know. Let me just... Oh, it looks like I've got a pubic hair on my Patreon.
Are these questions for me?
They are for you.
Right, here we go. Or just generic questions?
No, they're for you. Because they actually say your name in it. Top one question for Andrew.
Go.
Any updates on a Cork in the North marathon team?
No, not happening.
Oh, was this something you were trying to do on the SLY?
No chance. Not happening.
Okay. And if you were to do a Cork in the North marathon team,
I wouldn't even run it myself.
Dominic's a big fan of you guys and would love to have Andrew at Bad Otter Comedy Club.
Where?
Bad Otter in Newton Arts. I played it there a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I think we tried to get it sorted, didn't we?
Yeah.
Get him to get on to me again.
Have you ever seen anything weird that you wish you never had to see?
I once saw somebody take a shit on a tube in London.
Like openly, or was it in your
just
pants?
put his pants down, went for shit.
A man?
Man, yeah.
Oh no, it's a bit concerning when you see people pooing and peeing where they shouldn't, isn't it? I saw a wee old lady peeing at a bus stop once. And
very common, people going to the toilet on trains.
Why?
Very common.
Is that like my friend having a wank in an oak tree? It's
people,
just like it.
People getting caught short, like.
But then, could you not wait? Like the tube stops aren't big.
Oh, as soon as it got to the next tube stop, everyone got off the carriage, and then somebody alerted a staff member, and I waited for the next tube. I was like, fuck that.
And did the guy stay on and be like...
Yeah, I think he stayed on. I can't really remember. It was maybe about 10, 15 years ago. It was awkward.
Yeah.
I didn't actually see it. I was told
it
had happened in the carriage, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I didn't actually physically... I could see him kind of finishing up, but I didn't know it was happening at the time.
Did he look like a kind of guy who needed a bit of help?
He looked like the kind of guy that was down on his luck, yeah.
Well, then those guys, you know what, it's one of those things. You don't have a lot to lose. You know, you may as well take poos on the train.
On the Northern Line.
Yeah. There's nothing to lose. You got to do poos. Paul says, has Andrew taken delivery of his aircraft yet in the form of a simulator? Good on him, I say. You can only hide the profits for so long. Andrew Ryan Airways.
Only hide the profits for so long.
Yeah.
I'm buying a flight simulator, yeah. I'm still researching it. It's cost me a couple of grand.
And what are you talking about? Is it a full...
Well, see that desk. There'll be a couple of screens on there. There'll be joypads. There'll be a chair. All that kind of stuff. It's starting small, but I've been in contact with a guy who's actually helping me to do it. So I want to do
facilitating this weird behaviour.
He's a mediator, and I want him to kind of talk to me about what to get, what not to get, and he's going to help me buy the stuff. This is a person that does this. So, and also I have to assess the space because I've had to approach it with my girlfriend who's she said she was going to move out. I said, I'll fly you somewhere, you can live somewhere else. Just doing all this kind of stuff with her. She was only joking, by the way, she's not moving out. But my point is that like I can't just go out and buy a simulator. You have to download software, you have to learn how to use it and learn how to work it and stuff, you know. So
is this like, you know, I don't want to use this term and offend anybody, but like nerds build computers? Is this like a process like this? Like you have to build different parts? You need nerds. Can you not just get a game on your laptop? No, you need nerds. No, I want an immersive experience. The question is, are you going to get a hat? A what? A hat?
I'm going to get the gear now.
Pop we had it.
Oh, mate, you can come around and fly in it, but you'll have a seatbelt to put on and everything.
Okay.
They have to have a boarding card.
Yeah, that's. But you know what the good thing about that
immigration. You won't get in because of immigration. No. It's got a European passport. No, say that, right.
But then here's the thing, right? So do you get so immersed in it that when you land and you come off, you're like speaking like, I don't know, French accent? Say you've gone and landed in Toulouse.
No, I land in France, I put my watch forward an hour.
Yeah. But I mean, you could get really into it.
Oh yeah, that's the whole point. That's why I'm doing it.
You're not replying to emails, you're late for meetings and all. You're like, oh, sorry, I'm in French time.
Sorry, I was late for the gig tonight. I was circling over Belfast International. I couldn't get in because there was traffic in the air.
But then that's the thing. Could your girlfriend, if you want to really take it to the next level, could she like set up a desk over here somewhere and be air traffic control?
Yeah. Cabin crew.
Yeah.
Co-pilot.
Yeah.
Co-pilot.
Oh dear. And would you invite other people around?
Yeah.
Family and
we're
all?
We're going to actually, me and Aaron are actually hoping to go to an air flight simulator down in Newton Ards, and we're actually going to film a podcast while I fly a plane.
Oh, is that in the Ards airfield?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then
I don't live far from there. I'll come
Aaron wants to hijack the plane, then I have to deal with it. And
oh no.
All this kind of stuff. We'll get you in.
Yeah, I'll come in like I'll come in like Liam Neeson and see if
we're going to film a pod down there. I'm going to fly the plane. Maybe I could fly the plane. You could commentate on it.
Could do that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, now here's the thing though. That you will know as somebody who flies it. What is the deal with the voice on a plane with a pilot? Is that just a generic thing that they do?
Yeah,
like a radio people, like the traditional radio disc jockey. There was a guy. I was at a contest. My daughter was dancing on Saturday, and it was to be fair, it was too long in Lisburn.
Dance.
The whole show was too long. It was too much time that I had to spend in Lisburn. But her dance was fantastic. Her team, brilliant. But there was a guy hosting it, and he was like, hello and welcome to the Nick Mac Dance Contest. We are here. We have dancers from all across the province, and there can only be one winner. We have the judges. And I was like, who decided that was the voice?
Who was it? No, you don't want to tell me off.
I can't even remember his name. It's not a guy I recognise.
They are trying too hard, those people.
But then the same way, it's like if you get in there, like, do they always have problems with their sinuses?
No, I've had like captains come on and go, I flying to Edinburgh today, so we shall be. You kind of have to sound like professional because it instills confidence as well.
But why are they also so out of breath? Why are they always like, we are approaching Belfast today?
They're trying to
a little bit of wind coming.
It's just the way it is, mate.
You know what? They would be bad if they came on the lines with like, oh no.
Yeah, they'd be like going like
only joke.
It's windy, lads, and we're not sure what we can do about it, but hold on and tell your loved ones, get your affairs in order and tell your loved ones you love them. We'll come back and see what we can do about landing it.
Only joking, that was just a bit of banter from Thea.
Oh yeah, actually flying a plane isn't that difficult, you know.
Oh no, here we go. Is that an aspiration of yours to fly an actual plane?
I'd love to get a license, yeah, but it's too expensive. It's about 100
then you know what would happen to you?
What?
You'd have that old guard waiting before you went in the plane, go see if that was your plane. I'd take it off you.
Yeah.
I'd love it if he just became your nemesis forever and he knew that you stopped him from getting that last pint.
Oh yeah.
And he came after you. That was the motivation to the end. But listen, this has been a beautiful date day. We've had a lovely time. I've had a lovely time.
Lovely day.
Is there anything you want to promote to my listeners?
Going on tour soon. My podcast, Cork in the North. Thank you very much.
Where can people find you with your social handles?
At Andrew Ryan Comedy on Instagram and Facebook.
Or at Ards Airfield.
Or Ards Airfield. Or at the top of IKEA car park, plane spotting.
Is that a thing you do?
No.
Each their own. May God cast the first stone. Is that a thing? Who knows? Anyway, it's been a pleasure. Honor. Thank you.
We taking off now?
Yes.
I'm the sly guy.